Hello everyone, I'm Dante from Low Manor, and welcome to my breakdown of the latest Overwatch cinematic, Reunion. The high point of Blizzcon, at least for Overwatch fans, and acting as the introduction of not one, but two brand new heroes. On the surface, Reunion is the long-awaited short for McCree, while telling the story behind one of the original maps, Route 66. The story of the train robbery, sort of furthering the story in general, while more importantly, opening up McCree's origin story with the involvement of the Deadlock Gang, in the process of which we get two new character reveals, one already playable in-game, and another a nod back to one of the oldest character concepts. One more thing before we jump into Reunion, I wanted to address something related to the Deadlock Gang and specifically when they were created. If you've not seen it before, on McCree's Blackwatch skin, he has a Deadlock tattoo on his forearm that includes established 1976, assuming the date the Deadlock Gang was created. Yet Ashe is the founder, and she's obviously not over 100 years old, so this is an oversight in terms of the lore and timeline. Not that uncommon, unfortunately, or that date is a reference to something else. So far, the only alternative I've come up with is that it relates to the town of Deadlock itself, as we don't know the founding date. Not exactly a solid guess, but we've not got much else to work on right now. With that out of the way, let's cut to the start of Reunion, and to the opening of the Wurlitzer starting up in the Panorama Diner. As the song clicks on, a nice way to title the cinematic as we begin with the familiar surroundings. Fresh apple pie sitting on the counter with a slice missing, being slowly eaten by McCree. This calm before the storm opening style draws your attention to both a nostalgic feeling for McCree, as this is the diner he's banned from, his old stomping ground, and to his past self, something he has since grown above through his redemption via Overwatch, while also highlighting the music. At first, I thought this would be subtly telling the story of Ashe and McCree. Instead, I think it's more random references. Some seems like you would tie them to Ashe or McCree, likely done on purpose, as they are both pretty closely tied. Though I think this line, for those of you that like shipping, could be a subtle reference. Don't let her fall in love with the Pale Rider. Sounds like that could be McCree to me, but who knows, this could just be a nice country theme song to ease us into the spaghetti western theme. Right about now, as McCree takes his second bite of the apple pie, is when we get rolling with the main arc. The explosion we were all anticipating triggers as the train passes overhead, sending it tumbling down into the street, just like in Route 66. Everything from here though is all new and deepens the lore of the map and every character involved. As he had planned, McCree picks up his gear, including this little computer chip right here, which we'll get back to later. Heading outside as the dust starts to settle, the noise of the Deadlock Gang rummaging through the wreckage becoming more prominent. Now it's time for the first of several big reveals, the Deadlock Gang. First off, we see one of the triplets, all of which are themed after 3 StarCraft races, made obvious by the tattoos each have. We initially see Terran, then Zeke, and eventually PT. Each of the brothers had a full-on breakdown at BlizzCon in the Lorecraft panel. The second member we see is Bob, everyone's new favourite Omnic. He's the guardian for our soon-to-be-shown hero, Ashe, essentially her Omnic butler from her former life of privilege. He stayed by her side through everything, serving her and protecting her in silence the whole time. Also, can we take some time to appreciate his amazing bowler hat that looks tiny on his giant head? A true gentleman indeed. Ashe, the leader of the Deadlock Gang, is an old friend, now more of an enemy of McCree, while being the first of our 2 character reveals. In Reunion, she is leading the gang on this train robbery from the intel she thinks she acquired through her great running of the gang. Unbeknownst to her, McCree was taking advantage of her hubris and ambition to pull off a big score. such as robbing a rail-bound armory shipment, which from what I can tell is from a private military company, with a number on the side making the word black. Almost feels like a throwback to Blackwatch and the events that led to McCree leaving the gang. I doubt we'll ever learn who the shipment is from and where it's going, and why it has no escort whatsoever for such important stock, but that's beside the point for this cinematic. As McCree approaches the gang and makes his request for one item, a mysterious white crate, Bob, under direction from Ashe, opens it, revealing an unknown item off screen. McCree gives his terms and for everyone to walk away happy. A futile attempt for sure, but it seems McCree is a bit sentimental for the old gang, even if he took a different path in the end. As with any classic western, we end up in a standoff, tension slowly building as guns aim in on the gunslinger, including another Omnic member of the gang, Bar, the marksman of the group. Well, apparently. Then the wait for the classic shootout begins, throwing in all the tropes, like the oil dripping down Bob's head, combined with some high noon jokes. As McCree subdues the gang with some fun grenade play, makes you wonder why Ashe didn't do the same with her dynamite. Maybe she'll remember next time. For now, McCree sends the whole gang back off to their hideout, tied up on their payload, free to collect their winnings later on. As now, we move on to the true big reveal, and back to the chip we saw at the beginning. Placing it into the open crate, it activates something as a face flickers to life. This is Echo, one of the oldest character concepts from before Overwatch even existed, previously known as Iris. She has been confirmed by Jeff Kaplan as being significant to the next stages in the story, with her own arc to be expanded in the future. By far this is the most advanced tech, nothing like the more industrial look we see from the previous Omnic styles. Echo is far more special, previously believed to be the personification of Athena's AI. This line of thinking might not be too far off the mark. Back to Reunion, and we can see McCree offer his hand to help Echo out of their crate. And from their brief conversation, we can confirm that Echo used to work with McCree, or at least within Overwatch. We can even find out why he went and found her, because he heard the recall, but doesn't consider himself worthy. Echo surely is, although he didn't exactly give any information to go by, but when you're a super advanced AI, I doubt that's much of an issue. Two other minor points to mention here. Echo asks what happened to McCree's arm, something that Ashe has also mentioned, about ripping off his other arm, which means canonically, McCree almost certainly lost his arm around the same time Overwatch fell, if we assume Echo has been deactivated prior to the shutdown. Or just as likely, he lost it after he parted ways with Overwatch, making his acquisition of such tech rather impressive, until you compare it to the level of Doomfist, which looks extremely lifelike, and which, if you'll let me have some rampant speculation, the style looks rather like that of Torbjorn. Perhaps McCree paid him a visit. Also, Ashe specifically says,
"I'm gonna rebuild Bob, and I'm gonna have him rip off your other arm!"
So was his first arm pulled off? And if so, by what? A prior run-in with Bob? As McCree says.
Well, that's a story for another time.
The second point is related to Ashe's bike, which is usually parked in the storage section of the Deadlock Gang hideout, as McCree is in the process of stealing, or borrowing it from Ashe. You can see a picture of them together playing cards. Coincidentally, these are the exact same playing cards that you can see in the Deadlock Gang hideout, with their Hearthstone-inspired backs, which the shippers among you will add weight to them being a couple, or at bare minimum, very close. We then end with McCree riding into the sunset, onto his next task, whatever that may be. So the final topic that I want to touch on is somewhat of an open question. In McCree's backstory, one of his major turning points is the actions of Blackwatch to shut down the Deadlock Gang. Them being busted should have shut down the gang for good. But seeing as it was Blackwatch, it could have been a much more purposeful operation, to acquire new talent for their team, with McCree being the most likely to join their side, bringing with him his knowledge of conducting heists, the skills of a modern day gunslinger, and to work on the grey side of the law. Interestingly enough, how did the rest of the gang get out? Were they all held by Blackwatch themselves, then released as Overwatch started to fall? Did they break free from a third-party organisation post-Overwatch? Or was their capture merely temporary, long enough to get the attention of McCree and nothing else? Some interesting possibilities. Or would make great cinematics or comics themselves around Ashe and Bob. We can hope, at least. Thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. You can subscribe to support the channel and use the bell to be notified of future content as it goes live. So until next time, I've been Dante, thanks for watching.